South Carolina Gamecocks went 9-4 last year, just missing out on the playoffs after playing very, very well down the stretch. Lenore Sellers was the big reason for that. Kind of a so-so start to the season, but then just really took off down the stretch. Talk about someone you wanted to see win big moments, make big plays in big moments. He did that time and time again.
He's already answered that.
Correct. No questions there, but he threw for 2,500 yards, 18 touchdowns to 7 picks, and then 7 rushing touchdowns. Projected first-round pick. The most toolsy pick, out of the guys, I would say that's a projected first-round pick in terms of quarterbacks. He has everything you want. So thoughts on him, both of y'all?
I mean, if you want to go first, Sanders, go ahead. But
he's about to talk for 10 minutes about the guy.
Probably.
So.
I tried to get him in fantasy last year off the waiver wire after I wouldn't say broke out, but kind of established himself as oh, this guy, watch out for this guy. That was week 2 or 3. He was a redshirt freshman, I guess, at the time. So, yep.
Yes, he was a redshirt freshman last year.
You take it away. I know he's good. I wanted him.
Okay,
I did
so
not
he
get him.
starts, and I think he comes in at the end of whatever their Group of 5 or FCS game was. And then he plays the Kentucky game. And I remember seeing him at first, and I was like, okay, this guy's supposed to be really good. But then I saw his goggles, and I was like, oh, this guy's goofy. And so until he took the goggles off, I never really thought too highly of him.
You didn't respect him.
Because it was I don't have
No
respect
aura.
for him. He didn't look cool. The goggles made him look like he was wearing nerd glasses, playing football. And as someone who's played a bunch of basketball, travel ball, it was what the nerds that played basketball wore as their glasses. That's what he was wearing last year. For him, unbelievably talented. He's a great, great prospect. I don't think he's there all the way there yet. He's obviously not hit his prime or anything like that, and I hope he doesn't until he's in black and gold. But he is a gamer. He wins games. He won games for them last year. South Carolina was in the argument for the final playoff spot, but they had embarrassing losses to Ole Miss. That was an embarrassing loss. And then they lose 2 close ones, literally close ones. LSU, where they should have won off an official. And then the Alabama one, they nearly win at the end there. And so that was the big reason that they were held out. Sellers did not play necessarily great in their bowl game, but I think for them it was a bowl game, didn't really matter. But because of Lenoris, South Carolina drastically outperformed what they were supposed to last year with a redshirt freshman coming into playing quarterback, and he gets the time over Robbie Ashford. He dealt with some injury troubles, and I think that's a question mark for him going forward. Can he protect himself with how elite he is as a quarterback? But I watched him firsthand. He beat Clemson last year. He beat Clemson. The South Carolina defense was amazing against Cade that day, and Cade did not play well. But Lenoris beat Clemson at Clemson last year. I don't think that's even arguable. He is that good. Now he comes into this season where he's got to prove himself on really, really high expectations because he was under the radar last year. And that is that's the only concern for me this year is how does he play now that the expectations are on him?
Pressure's
the
on.
bright lights are on him. I think of Caleb Williams and how he played under the radar with Oklahoma. Rising. Comes to USC, bright lights. Not necessarily a great season. Good enough to be the first overall pick, but not necessarily a great season. He didn't really compete. Specifically the second USC year, not the Heisman year, of course, but the year after the Heisman where he's returning as the Heisman Trophy winner, didn't necessarily play well with the great bright lights, and now that's kind of a question going into this season with Chicago. That's the only concern I have with Lenoris.
Fair.
Because I think the talent is there that he could be the best quarterback in the NFL in 5 years. He is that good. He's that much of a gamer. As long as he's not wearing the goggles, he's there. He's there. I think the big thing for the NFL will just be where is he put in as a position, and can he stay healthy?
I feel like you're disrespecting. Wasn't there a basketball player who wore the goggles and was
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, but that was the 80s.
Different time.
Oh. What
to me,
about
all I
what
think
about
about
Rodrigo
goggles.
Blankenship?
But see, he was a nerd, but he was a kicker, so it's
yeah, he's
okay.
a kicker. Yeah.
Different
Mhm.
quarter position
Not
standards.
the leader of your
Yeah.
franchise or your university.
He's the guy that everyone's like, "Oh, you're a nerd. You can't play football, so you kicked, and now you're good because of that." I think so. I think it's a little different.
See, I see a guy with glasses. I'm like, oh, he's talented, but he has bad eyesight. He's just gonna wear them and
Yeah.
wheel and deal.
I would like to see him continue to improve as a passer, but he
Yeah.
is young enough. I think he will do that. And the thing that just stands out to me is how hard he is to tackle because of his size. In the A&M game, we missed 25 tackles. Now, a lot of that was we were selling, and we missed tackling other people too. But there were multiple times where it's like our defensive lineman would have him, and then all of a sudden, just like he'd still be up, and our defensive lineman would be on the ground, and he's like, running for a first down or hitting someone in the scramble drill for a big pass play. You mentioned in your kind of rant or your little ramble that he helped South Carolina drastically outperform, their talent and their projections last season.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he'd have to do that again this year because
Yeah.
I think their roster is actually worse this year than it was last year with what all they lost on defense. They're only returning 4 to 5 starters. They lost 4 to 5 guys to the draft on that side of the ball, and they've not necessarily been the best at bringing in talent under Shane Beamer. So that's my biggest worry for this team is not at all about Lenore Sellers, but like, can the team around him be good enough to help this guy reach the playoffs, or is he going to just have to try and drag him along again? Even looking at the wide receivers, Nick Harbor's probably the best wide receiver, but he's not really produced. He's just kind of a crazy athlete that's raw, not a wide receiver.
His best highlights are him on a track field.
Correct.
So he has not shown that from a production standpoint yet as a receiver, and he'll have to this year for South Carolina to be any good. I think I'm high on Rasul Faison. I'm high on him from Utah State. I think he's a really talented guy. But I don't think he's Raheem Rocket Sanders.
Yeah.
I don't think he has that capability to kind of take over games. I think he'll be a very capable back for him. And, yeah, Lenoris has to carry this team because defensively they're going to be a lot worse than they were last year. And they were actually really, really good. Defensively, they shut down Cade Klubnik. Cade probably played one of his worst games of the season last year outside of the Georgia game against South Carolina because of the talent they have. But, yeah, Lenoris is going to have to carry.
I do want to give a shout out to Dylan Stewart, the best defender, arguably on their team last year as a true freshman. He is back as a pass rusher and probably will dominate again. Would go in the top 15 of this year's draft if he could go, but he has to wait yet another year. He's very talented, but aside from him, they really did lose a ton. If any South Carolina fans ends up watching, I don't want them to be like, "We got Dylan Stewart." It's like, yes, but you got to have 11 players on defense.
Yeah. Over under is 7.5. They went 9-3 last year in the regular season. They lost the bowl game. I don't remember.
Illinois.
Yes, thank you.
The Mayo Bowl. The Duke Mayo Bowl.
I'm going to take the over. I think they'll get to 8 wins because of Lenore Sellers and how much respect I have for him and how good I think he is. But this team realistically shouldn't hit 8 wins in the SEC holistically. That's me giving major props to Lenore Sellers.
Yeah, I'll also take the over. The first, there's a really good. They should start 5-0, and then they go to LSU, and on the road that game could be tough. It'll be interesting to see how
They play 6 of 7 ranked games down the stretch.
Yeah. They play 4 ranked games, a bye.
Of course, they get their bye right before A&M, bro. That's a scam.
And then
Holy.
they get a nice warm up in Coastal Carolina, and then they get Clemson at home.
I'm taking the over. I think they'll get to 8 wins in a lot of different ways. 5-0 would be the most easiest path to start that. And then they'll beat Coastal, so that's 6 wins. And I think they're winning both Week 8 and Week 9, Cocktober, Williams-Brice, against Oklahoma and Alabama. Because I just think the roof is going to go off for those 2 games. And I think it's enough of an advantage that they're going to win those 2 games.
So if they do that,
Then they're at 8 wins.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're going to win any other game in there. If they were to lose one of those games, then I expect them to win a road game. But I think 8 wins is right there. Their playoff contention for me, I think Lenoris is that good. Right now he'd be a top 3 pick.
he just also say 100% though is also
He-
so scary in terms of picking the over/under. Like even if he plays a week, but it's like, oh, his ankle's kind of bad this week. Like
Yes,
that's scary.
The health is a huge concern there for Lenoris and for the Gamecocks, but I think they'll get to 8 wins. And I haven't said it yet, but I want to just get it out there. Lenore Sellers would be the number 1 overall pick in the draft for me right now.
All right.
He's that good.
If
I don't hate it.
they start 5-0, lose to LSU, and then beat Oklahoma and Alabama, I mean, we're talking top 10, top 8 probably.
You're top 10. I don't know exactly. It just depends
they're
on how
already
other teams
13.
shake out.
They
Yeah,
could
Right.
be top 10.
after going 5-0.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's just
They will be top 10.
yeah,
if
and
they
it
go
also
5-0.
depends on what happens to Oklahoma, and if LSU beats Clemson or doesn't. Yeah, a lot of it is dependent. But if your prediction pans out and they do beat Oklahoma and Alabama, that's 2 potentially very good SEC teams. We could see a big jump in that 2-week period, and then you go to Ole Miss, revenge game.